Hey guys, it's Evie here and welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here, welcome. I hope you decide to stick around and subscribe. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about a challenge that is very, very popular. It is the 75 hard challenge. So I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. And spoiler alert, I think this challenge sucks. So if you're interested to hear about my thoughts on the 75 hard, just make sure you keep on watching. So when I was researching the 75 hard challenge, there are kind of lots of different variations of it. They have like the same concept, but there were like some that had like some goals to it and some that were just a little bit different. Anyways, the gist of it is you do this challenge for 75 days, and the one I found has 6 things that you need to stick to. So the first one is you need to follow a diet and you can't have any alcohol. Number 2 is you need to read 10 pages of a non-fiction book a day. Number 3, you need to drink a gallon of water every single day, which is about 3.7 liters of water. You must complete 2 45-minute workouts a day, and one of them has to be outdoors. You also need to be taking progress pictures. And lastly, if you skip a day, you must start over. So the first point I'm going to be talking about is following a diet. I feel like this is very broad because, as we know, there's lots of different variations of diets that exist. So we have no sugar, keto, low carb, no carb, which I guess is keto, and also ones that are plant-based. And it's just like, how do you pick one? Do you just pick one and just stick to it for 75 days? And I just feel like when it comes to your food consumption, you want to make sure that you are eating a variety of foods, because life and food is all about balance. The only diet you want to be following is one that's going to keep you energized, nourished, and just making you feel good all around. After this 75 days, you could now see food differently. You can start restricting yourself to a diet that isn't nourishing your body the way it should be nourished. Unless the diet you're following is something that is balanced, that contains the 3 major macronutrients along with micronutrients, don't follow a diet that's about restricting and about taking something away. The next part to this is the no alcohol. I feel like this is a good point because I feel like alcohol is kind of one of those things that you really need to be careful with, and also one that really doesn't really bring you anything to your, bring you anything good to your diet. I don't really know how to word it, but I don't really have a problem with this one. I think it's actually great to follow. I'm usually not a drinker, but ever since we moved in, we've been having like a sneaky drink here and there, but usually I don't ever drink. And I feel like the whole thing of, you need to have alcohol to have a good time is kind of just bullshit. You don't really need to have alcohol to have a good time. I feel like a lot of people that are introverted like myself feel like they need to have alcohol, that way they can come out of their shell and be able to socialize, but honestly, you really don't need alcohol to have a good time. If you're surrounded by really good people, you're really good close friends, and you have things that you have in common, you can watch movies, you can play board games, you don't need alcohol in the mix. Also, did you know that alcohol is actually considered the 4th major macronutrient? I didn't know about that. So we obviously have our carbs, fats, and proteins, but the 4th one that not many people talk about is alcohol, because I guess we don't really want to be focusing on alcohol too much. But yeah, obviously alcohol is not necessary, but if you do enjoy a drink here and there, I don't really think it's a bad thing to be having one, once a week or anything, but you obviously want to be very careful with your consumption, as it can be detrimental to your health. Along with the following the diet, you also can't have any cheat meals. And boy, do I hate that word, along with good food and bad foods. To me, meals are meals, food is food. I also feel like the connotation around cheat meals can really bring a very negative mindset when it comes to food. It can lead to bad eating behaviors and could also lead to eating disorders. Forcing yourself to follow a diet and, not try and eat anything out of that diet, you're going to be restricting yourself. And what happens after that 75 days? Do you just make a list of all the foods that you didn't eat within that 75 days? You go to the shops, buy it, and eat it? I really don't think that is a very healthy behavior to have. So if you are craving a piece of chocolate, have that chocolate. If you really want some spaghetti bolognese, but you feel like you can't have it within the diet you're following, just have your damn spaghetti bolognese. It is really important to be educating ourselves around food. That way we can make good choices when it comes to our food consumption. We want to ensure that we have healthy relationships with our food. That way, when we are creating our meals, we are feeling energized, nourished, and feeling good. I feel like those are my 3 points when it comes to food. Energized, nourished, feeling good. So just remember, it's about balance, guys. Just have the meals that you want to have that make you feel good. And if you really, really, really want a freaking cookie, just have that damn cookie. And like, imagine you're like 35 days in, you're craving something so badly, and you kind of just feel shit because you feel like you can't have it. Or you cave within that, did I just say what, 35 days in, and then you just have to start again. Like, what kind of mindset is that setting if you have to start over again because you feel like you failed? I just feel like it's such a negative mindset when it comes to this challenge. If you are, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. I'm just mad now. I'm just mad. Okay, I'm just going to finish off this point with just make sure you have balance with your meals. It allows you to have fun with your meals and you hopefully feel satisfied at the end of the day. The second point I'm going to be talking about is completing 2 45-minute workouts, and one of them must be outdoors. For me personally, I go to the gym anywhere between 4 to 6 days a week, and I sometimes go on afternoon walks as well. So this point for me, for my lifestyle, this does work for me. But not everybody has the luxury to be able to do 2 45-minute workouts a day. If you can only fit in one workout, that is totally fine. If you can only fit in 15 minutes, that is totally fine. Forcing yourself to do 45 minutes when you have other priorities can be extremely hard to do. Also, the whole point of the 75-day hard is to be doing this every single day. How is your body going to be recovering and being able to feel refreshed to do a 45-minute workout if you're not giving your muscles and your body the chance to recover? We live in a very busy time, and we also live in a time where some people need 2 jobs just to be able to survive and bring food to the table. So imagine someone who's, has kids, working 2 jobs, and then they're like, oh, I need to do 2 45-minute workouts as well. Like, some people just have other stuff they need to prioritize first. Not everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. Not everybody is Kim Kardashian, who has nannies and maids, and she can do that stuff because she has the luxury and the privilege to do it. So yes, exercise is very important, but if you are forcing yourself to do 2 45-minute workouts a day when you are just burnt out and exhausted, that's going to lead to long-term problems. Also, you are less likely to stick to something like this after the 75 days if you are just feeling shit after doing 2 45-minute workouts because you're really tired at the end of your day. Also, what happens if it's like been raining all day? What happens if there's like storms and floods and all that going on? How do you go outdoors and do your 45-minute workout? Is that a fail? Do I have to start again because it's been pissing down rain and I haven't been able to go outside? Or is that mindset healthy at all? Feeling like you failed because you couldn't do a second workout. We want to ensure that the physical activity that we do throughout our lives and days is tailored to ourselves and our lifestyles, because like I said, everybody has different priorities. We also want to ensure that the activity that we do throughout our day is sustainable long term, because I feel like 75 days is just such a short amount of time and it's just a short-term fix. So we want to ensure that we are bringing in habits that are going to last long-term. This is a point that I like to say in a lot of my videos like this. Short-term fixes can lead to long-term problems. All right, so we're now moving on to point number 3, which is if you skip a day, you must start over. Oh, I just hate the sound of that. It's okay to skip a workout. It's okay to indulge if you really want to. If like this challenge, I can't even. Like sometimes I just don't want to go to the gym. I just want to have an extra rest day, and that is totally fine. Like imagine like if I was doing this challenge, I was 60 days in, I've been exhausted, I was doing chores, or I had people over, or I was just feeling burnt out, and then I'm like, oh my God, it is now 10 p.m. I didn't do something, I had a cheat meal, I didn't do a second workout, and now I have to start all over again, and that's just going to make you feel like a failure, and it's just going to make you feel like shit, and it's not a healthy mindset. This whole thing is just I just feel like is extremely negative. Like, I just need to compose myself for a few minutes because I'm actually really annoyed right now just talking about this. Let's take a moment to just breathe. Anyways, so there are going to be days where you just don't feel like going to the gym. There are going to be days where you just want an extra rest day. And I feel like if you are forcing yourself to go to the gym or do an outdoor workout when you really don't want to, it's just going to make you resent your movement. And after the 75 days, if you are resenting your movement, guaranteed you are not going to want to do it beyond that 75 days. Don't limit your habits to 75 days, okay? We want to be able to include habits that are going to be sustainable and with us long term. I already mentioned this in one of the earlier points, but also working out every day, like I said, just doesn't give your body a chance to recover. So we want to ensure that we are including rest days within our weeks. The fourth point we are moving on to is taking progress pictures. I don't know if you need to take a progress picture every week or every day, but taking progress pictures is actually not a bad idea. I actually do like this point, depending on how often you do it. I feel like daily isn't really a good way to be looking at it because, you know, your body and your weight, that can fluctuate day to day. But I feel like if you're doing it, you know, maybe once a week or even once a month, you're really going to start seeing differences within your body once you incorporate your habits. Also takes away the idea of having to weigh yourself on a scale, because I believe that the scale just doesn't give you all the information. And I feel like if you're taking pictures, you'll be able to see the physical changes that are happening to your body. You could be gaining muscle, losing fat. And I just feel like if you're just stepping on that scale and relying on that scale, like I said, it doesn't give you all the information. It doesn't give you the water weight, your muscle mass, your bone density. There's just so much more to your body than what that number is saying on that scale. So for me personally, I feel like taking progress pictures is actually a really good idea. I have tried to do it the last 2 months, but I've just been so lazy with it. So this is something I actually want to incorporate within my journey with fitness. So I actually want to be taking a picture once a month and just see how my body has been changing. I also feel like 75 days isn't enough time to see the progress that you're probably wanting to see. So I feel like, you know, what's 75 days? Is that 6 weeks? I think it's like 6 or 7 weeks. So you probably will see some progress within that time, but I just feel like you want to remember that, you know, when it comes to changing your physique and, you know, if you're going through a body recomp, it can actually take years to get to where you want to be. So I feel like limiting yourself to 75 days, you're probably going to have the thoughts, why do I look the same as last week? That person is making more progress than I am. But just remember, everybody works out differently. Everybody has different priorities. So you don't want to be comparing yourself. You only want to compare yourself to yourself, not to others. Also, because we are in such a social media driven world, it can be really hard, you know, not to compare yourself. And there are lots of people showing off their transformations, which I think are amazing. But just remember that transformations take way longer than 75 days. People have different genetics, different lifestyle, different eating habits, and all of these things make a difference to how our bodies progress. The exercise is just a little tiny smidge of it. Okay, we are moving on to point number 5, which is drink 1 gallon of water. Or if you have no idea what a gallon is, because I don't know if that's an American thing. Anyways, in Australia, I don't know what the heck a gallon is, but it's roughly 3.7 liters of water. When it comes to water consumption, I feel like it really depends on your lifestyle and your physical activity level. Because if you are someone who really doesn't move their body too much, but still a sufficient amount, almost 4 liters of water can actually be quite detrimental to your health. During exercise, sweat will typically occur, and this is your body's way of bringing the body temperature down. That way you aren't overheating. And obviously during sweat, this means you are losing water. Obviously, it's really important to be hydrated, because obviously too little fluid is not good for you, but also too much is also not good for you. So I don't know how recent this was. was probably close to 6 months ago now. A woman in America actually died because she had 4 bottles of water within 20 minutes. So she just kept drinking water because she felt like her hydration levels weren't being met. And that is one of the cases of water intoxication. I will link the article in the description down below if you're interested to read more about water intoxication. If you drink water too quickly, you can actually throw off your body's electrolyte balance, which causes the sodium levels in our bodies to drop. So if you are doing a workout and you feel that you are drinking way too much water, this is a good time to bring in something like a sports drink, like a Gatorade or Powerade, because they have electrolytes in it to be able to hydrate your body. And also, I guess if you're trying to, drink 3.7 liters of water a day, let's say you're at 2 liters, it's 9 p.m. Imagine forcing yourself to drink another 1.7 liters of water before you go to bed. You could possibly suffer from water intoxication and just hinder your health. So just be really, really careful when you are doing challenges, and just really research the effects that it could have on the body. Or if you are wanting to drink 3.7 liters of water a day, just make sure that it is spread out and you are not drinking it too fast. And if you are feeling really thirsty still, like I said, go for a sports drink. So when I was thinking about this, I was just thinking about, times to when you watch the sports, like if you watch sports or Olympics or anything, a lot of the time when those players or athletes come off the field, the first thing you probably see them drinking is a Powerade or Gatorade, because they are wanting to replace their electrolytes that they have lost in that short amount of time. Also, according to the National Health and Medical Research Council, there is actually an average for females and males to drink. So on average, an adult woman should be looking at consuming about 2 liters of water a day, and on average, men should be focusing on consuming 2.6. Obviously, if you are a very active person, you might go over that, but like I said, just ensure you are not drinking too much too quickly. And the last point of the 75 hard challenge I'm going to be talking about is you must read 10 pages of a book. I believe it does have to be non-fiction. Some of the challenges I saw, it did have to be non-fiction, but others didn't specify. I love to read books. I am an absolute reading junkie. Put that into perspective to you. Last year, in 2023, I read 120 books. But they're not physical books, because God help me, I would be so broke if I was buying physical books. I use a Kindle. I take that thing everywhere. It is my pride and joy. Anyways, for me, this isn't too hard, but I don't really like to read non-fiction. If I was forcing myself to read non-fiction every single day, I would probably not want to read. So if you want to read, just make sure you're reading something you're interested in. Obviously, I love to read, my books, enemies to lovers, childhood best friends to lovers. I know how these books are going to end, but I froth them. So yeah, the time that I'm filming this, I've already read 9 books, and in, I think what's the date today? It's February 4th, and I've read 8 books so far this year. I want to see if I can reach 100 again this year, but we'll see. Anyways, I really enjoy this point. I think reading is really therapeutic. It also takes away your attention from your phone. And I feel like if you're someone who likes to scroll, what's it called? Death scrolling, I think they call it, before you go to bed, I would suggest picking up reading, because using your phone before you go to sleep, it can actually really affect your sleep and your quality of sleep. So this point, I vibe with this point. But again, reading is a hobby. If you're forcing yourself to read and you aren't enjoying it, again, after the 75 days, you are not going to stick to it. You want to ensure that you are finding hobbies and habits that you enjoy, that you're going to do long term. Yeah, if you're starting a challenge and it's telling you that you have to read 10 pages of a book every day, but 10 days in you aren't enjoying it, don't feel like a failure because you're closing that, Like I said, you want to make sure that you are enjoying the things you're doing, because if you aren't, you're just wasting time, guys, okay? You're just wasting time on shit you don't want to do. Except there are things you do have to do, like cleaning and vacuuming, that stuff. I don't enjoy doing it, but I have to do it. Reading a book, you don't have to do it. End of the day, what works for me is not going to work for you. I know I'm repeating myself, but we all have different jobs, lifestyles, and priorities. So you just need to find something that works for you. Don't try to force yourself to do a challenge just because everybody else is doing it. Don't try and force yourself to do strength training if you don't enjoy it. Don't force yourself to, I don't know, run a marathon even though you don't even like running. Your movement should be tailored to you and it should be something you enjoy, because that way you are going to stick to it long term. I really hope that if you do decide to join challenges that you see online, that you really research and find out the implications that it will have. Think about habits that will help you long term, not short term. All right, let's wrap it up. So I've talked about 6 different points on what the 75 hard challenge is, and I've talked about each point, what it consists of, and my thoughts on it. So I really hope that after this video, you can really make a decision about if this challenge really is sustainable and if it's for you. At the end of the day, yes, there are 24 hours in a day, but not everybody has the same 24 hours. We have different lifestyles, schedules, and priorities, which means that everybody's day is going to consist of different things. During these 75 days, you are working out twice a day while also trying to do your other priorities, chores, and jobs. And on top of that, you're trying to force yourself to read when it's something you don't want to do. You can start to resent your movement. You can start to resent hobbies because you are forcing yourself to do something that just does not work for you. I'm very lucky and privileged because I do have extra time, so I can do some of this stuff, but that's because I do enjoy it. And by extra time, I mean I don't have kids to look after. I don't have to travel to work because I get to work from home. A lot of people's 9 to 5s can actually become 8 to 6 because they have to travel to work. Sometimes it's not always possible to work out every single day, and it's also not sustainable long term to work out every day. Not everybody has the time and the privilege to be able to do that. I do feel like there are some good things to this challenge. Like I really do like the one where it says to take progress pics, because I feel like relying on the scale just isn't the best way to measure progress. I also really like the point about reading 10 pages of a book, because like personally, I do really love reading, and I feel like, again, it just takes away from you like staring at your phone and desk scrolling, and that way you're just absorbing different information. But overall, I don't think this challenge is a very good one. Okay guys, that is now the end of this video, and yes, I am very sick and tired of my own voice right now. I feel like I've been talking for so long, but I really wanted to ensure that I brought you all the information about 75 hard as well as my own thoughts. So if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe, as that does help my little baby channel out so much. I hope you guys are having an amazing day wherever you are, and just remember that one bad day isn't a setback. So if you skip a workout, it is totally fine. You are not failing. But yes, tomorrow can always be better. Bye guys.